The Arizona Wildcats are the number one team in the country. They very much looked like it in their win over Wisconsin on Saturday. This game was never really in question, Connor. Um, I left. I went into the game feeling like Arizona was the best team in the country, regardless of their ranking. I leave even more emphatic that Arizona is the best team in the country. How? What do you make of Arizona's performance in blowing out a Wisconsin team that has put up some really good wins recently?
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it before the game. This game was going to come down to who could control the tempo, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who could, you know, Wisconsin needed to limit shots, needed to limit Arizona to, first chance opportunities, and needed to possibly, if not do that, turn Arizona over. Uh, both teams, well, Wisconsin took 70 shots. Arizona took 60. They did limit Arizona's second chance opportunities, which was good. Arizona only had 4 offensive rebounds. They only missed 25 shots. So not a
Not
Arizona
a
did
lot
a
of
lot of,
opportunities. Yeah.
yeah, not a lot of opportunities, but Arizona went 12 of 26 from deep, which was great. You would like to see that free throw success rate go up for Arizona because not every team is going to be as tempo dependent as Wisconsin to win games. And but Arizona also only had 7 turnovers in this game.
Mm-hmm.
So the two things that Wisconsin needed to do, slow down the game and or turn Arizona over, neither of those things happened.
Yeah.
70 shots for Wisconsin. As soon as you see that number, you probably know Arizona wins that game.
Yeah.
So I like Arizona. Um, as everyone knows, I still have them number 2 in my rankings. I am more impressed, not necessarily more impressed with the win. I am more sold on Purdue and how they handled going up against an Alabama team in another scenario, in another game script that favored the other team
Mm-hmm.
against Purdue. Mark Sears went off as the lead guard. They turned Purdue over quite a bit in that game. And Purdue still won. I am excited for that game next weekend.
Yeah. Purdue, Arizona next weekend is going to be a lot of fun. And I think Arizona has set themselves up well for it. Like, look at this game. All 5 starters scored in double figures for the Wildcats. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but it feels like that has happened more often than not with this team this year. They're incredibly balanced. They go 8 deep, but get high level contributions from all 8 of those guys to where depth to me is not a concern. Caleb Love played well and was relatively efficient. And when you get an efficient Caleb Love game, like, to me, that takes Arizona to yet another level. But 4 guys with at least 4 assists, moved the ball incredibly well. Kylan Boswell was in charge of everything again. Their quickness was a problem for Wisconsin. Wisconsin's backcourt, to me, looked overwhelmed. The front court could not settle in and play the kind of prodding physical game that Wisconsin wanted to play. I was scared this would be the outcome for Wisconsin because of the style mismatch and because Arizona is really good at dictating the tempo and I think has, quite frankly, better players than Wisconsin does. And Wisconsin was flying high coming into this. I think this was a bit of a reality check. Wisconsin's still a very good team, but I think this was the reality check of the standpoint of like, okay, yeah, we're not like, there's another level here that we need to fix.
Yeah, and it is really tough. And I don't know where I have Wisconsin. I still have Wisconsin ranked this
Oh
this
yeah,
week.
I do.
You
I
do
do as
as
well.
well. Um, there might not be, and maybe Arizona and maybe Purdue even are playing their way into that conversation, but there may not be an elite team like we've seen in the past in
Mhm.
college basketball this year. Uh, if one of those teams blows out the other on next Saturday, we might be talking a little bit different. But I still think both teams, I mean, even Arizona, I still think has areas where you can attack them.
Mhm.
Wisconsin was just not built for that. Um, but the gap between 1 or 2 or 3 and low to mid 20s in the rankings in most years is not necessarily massive, but it's significant enough where when you do have two teams that are so different in the tempo they like to play, whoever controls the tempo is going to look like a dominant team, especially if it's the number one team in the country controlling the tempo. And so you can drop Wisconsin in your rankings, fine. I wouldn't drop them too far because they lost to Arizona in a game that favored Arizona.
Right. Like we are a week removed from them beating Marquette by double digits. Right. Like this is still a good team.
Yes.
Arizona is also like really, really good. So I'm with you. I'm not going to knock the Badgers too much. They kind of take the rest of the month off. Wisconsin, they have 2 more games, Jacksonville State, Chicago State, like kind of regroup before you get into Big Ten play here. Like, this is a team that I think is obviously very much in the conversation for earning a top 4 seed in the Big Ten tournament, getting that double bye, still having a very, very good season and being contention for maybe number 2 in the Big Ten behind Purdue. Like, I think that's in the cards for this team. But it kind of, I think the Marquette victory, I think, had some Wisconsin fans thinking that, oh, maybe this team is capable of playing at this level consistently. And this game kind of showed that they're not. And that's fine. Like, you just ran up against a better team. That happens.
No, and Marquette is not huge like Arizona is in the front court. So
correct.
Wisconsin dominated the boards in that game against Marquette. In the game against Arizona, they lost by 9. Arizona has Umar Ballo. Keisha Johnson is also a fantastic rebounder for Arizona. So, look, I think Arizona proved that they belong in that top 3 conversation. When your best defense on Pell Larson in a game is to foul him, to foul an 85% free throw shooter, that doesn't bode well for your team.
No. And I just with this Arizona team, I think this reiterated the number of ways they can beat you because they handled Wisconsin inside. Their guards were a problem. 3-point shooting was a problem. They didn't turn Wisconsin over, certainly, but they made Wisconsin uncomfortable with their defense. Like, again, I don't want to turn this into an Arizona Purdue preview because we will be doing that on the Sleepers Media YouTube channel. So make sure you stay tuned for that. But that's going to be a high level game. Like, I think Arizona's at a point right now, particularly with the way the Pac-12 has been playing throughout this non-conference. The losses for Arizona seems like they're going to be few and far between this year.
Yeah, I mean, we saw, which produced a now viral quote, but we saw UCLA get out rebounded by a relatively small Villanova team this weekend. I think USC, maybe, I mean, they're not going to get on the level that Arizona's playing right now, but I think USC can get on a level where they could knock off Arizona once they're fully healthy. Because again, you're looking at this team. Yeah, they're just missing Bronny, and Bronny is eligible as of this recording to play tonight. But Vincent Iwuchukwu has not played a full complement of minutes yet, and he's probably going to be on a minutes restriction for a good part of the season. But that's 2 guys that are relatively restricted because of injury, and then Isaiah Collier is only going to get better as the season goes on. So I think USC probably can give Arizona a run for their money. I would not discount a team like Utah. If Arizona plays at Utah, I don't have their schedule in front of me. They do able to knock
February 8th.
Knock off Arizona late in the season at altitude against Utah. It's not an easy place to play. Right. If you were to ask me before the season, I would have said Colorado. I think Utah is taking up that mantle as like they could be the 3rd or 4th best team in the conference. And are we discounting UW if Arizona heads up to Seattle? Like I just because
they only play once, and it's February 24th in Tucson.
Okay, so they're not going to lose to UW. Well, they might. I say that now, but no, this Arizona team I think heads into the tournament with 2 to 3 losses on their, if that. I don't think they go undefeated. I think they lose next weekend in what is a road game against the number 2 team in the country or whatever Purdue's ranked right now. Or will be ranked by that time next year.
Whoever wins that game is going to be number 1. Right.
Yeah.
Because either Arizona gets the stronghold on it or Purdue beats the number 1 team and the voters leapfrog them back into that 1 spot.
Yeah. And here's the question that I have. So Purdue has 1 loss to Northwestern. Arizona has none. If Arizona wins that game, even though their schedule is not the best, I think they have probably the inside track barring some losses for that number 1 overall seed. Kansas and Baylor have the schedule, I think, remaining where they could, if they just dominate in the Big 12, they could get it. But if we're talking about between Purdue and Arizona right now for the number 1 overall seed in the NCAA tournament, I think the winner of that game has that track.
Yeah,
because Purdue,
there's a lot of the
if you were the seed at the tournament right now, Purdue has wins over Marquette. They have a win over Tennessee. They have a win over Gonzaga. They have a win over Alabama. Yes, they have the loss to Northwestern, but I'd still say they probably have the best resume in the country.
You could certainly argue it. I think they have more high-end wins right now. And if they're able to add a 1 over Arizona next weekend, I don't think then it's a debate.
Right.
But it's going to be a lot of fun to see what happens. There'll be a lot more talk about the Purdue Arizona game and all the other big games coming up this week and next weekend on the Sleepers Media YouTube channel. Make sure you stay tuned and check that out. Make sure you check us out every week on the Heat Check Hangout. For Connor Hope and Brian Rauf. Talk to you next time.